Manchester City star Erling Haaland's Norway nightmare after double penalty. Erling Haaland missed 2 penalties for Norway in their World Cup qualifier against Israel on Saturday, but later redeemed himself on the pitch. Manchester City striker Erling Haaland squandered 2 spot kicks for Norway during their World Cup qualifier against Israel on Saturday. Norway were handed a penalty in the 5th minute after a foul by striker Dan Byton. Haaland, who took responsibility from 12 yards, witnessed both his original and retaken efforts denied by keeper Daniel Peretz. Polish official Simon Marciniak demanded the first penalty be retaken after determining that Peretz had strayed from his line. For Haaland's second attempt, Peretz anticipated correctly once more and pushed the shot aside. Nevertheless, the visitors awarded the hosts their first goal in the 18th minute through Anand Kalaili before the City striker made amends by extending Norway's advantage just before the half-hour mark. Shortly afterwards, Israel presented Norway with their third goal. Haaland then netted twice in the second period as he sought to guide Norway back to the World Cup for the first time since 1998. Qualifying for the World Cup would be like a big nation winning it, he previously said. It would be the biggest party of all Norway control their own destiny, with a perfect record of 6 wins from 6 games. Should Italy drop points against Estonia or Israel, the Scandinavians could clinch qualification with 2 matches remaining. They lead Group 1 with 18 points, whilst Italy are tied on 9 with Israel. Norway will take on Estonia and Italy during November's international window. Since 2020, Haaland has netted an impressive 51 goals for Norway in just 46 matches, reaching the 50-goal milestone in international football quicker than renowned players such as Harry Kane, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe. Tijani Reinders leads quiet Man City revolution under Pep Guardiola. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has changed some of the players he uses most at the club this season after a busy transfer window. If you had to guess which player had featured the most for Manchester City this season, you might struggle without a headline giving it away. Tijani Reinders has provoked mixed reviews for his start to life at the Etihad, yet he has been seen more than any other player. That fact underlines the level of change at the Etihad when a summer signing has been the most used by Pep Guardiola, and there are 2 other 2025 arrivals who are among the top 10 most used. Gianluigi Donnarumma has shot up to 7th in the list and will surely climb higher barring injury, while January by Nico Gonzalez is also in at 8th. That adds a flavour of freshness to the City side, and also much-needed replacements from last season. Ederson, Ilkay Gundogan and Manu Akanji were 4th, 6th and 8th on that list, but all departed in the summer. Some continuity in the list comes in Erling Haaland, Ruben Dias and Bernardo Silva. All 3 feature in the top 6 so far this year, as they did in the last year, while Phil Foden also climbs up to 5th place from 9th place, and Josko Gvardiol has dropped from top to 9th. Otherwise, new entries are Nico O'Reilly 4th and Jeremy Doku 10th, with Rico Lewis and Mateo Kovacic falling out of the top 10. Lewis hasn't started a league game since Tottenham in August, and Kovacic hasn't played a single minute yet after Achilles surgery in the summer. The players Guardiola has used the most has welcomed new faces into the team, but has also quietly brought the age of the team now. From an average age of 26.9 last year for the starting core, that has now come down to 25.1. That may not seem like much difference. Age doesn't matter as much as who can kick the ball in the net or keep it out of the net. But given the manager's concerns last season about being overrun in midfield age, does become an important factor, and small changes can make big differences. Part of Hugo Viana's remit when he came into the club in January to succeed Txiki Begiristain as sporting director in January was to bring down the collective age of a team who had grown old together. Gonzalez and Abdulkadir Kusanov were brought in at the start of the year, and Kevin De Bruyne was allowed to leave on a free transfer before the summer transfer window had opened. Reinders, at 27, will not dramatically bring any team averages down on his own, and is one of the players, like Omar Marmoush, who have been brought in as established players looking to take the next step in their careers. Reinders being 6 years younger than Gundogan in midfield could make a significant difference, his running helping the team even if radar for goal could have been better since the opening day. City refreshing their team, and squad may not be the biggest story around them this season, especially if Erling Haaland continues to score at an astonishing rate. But their transition under Guardiola and Viana is showing promise. Life and death, how Erling Haaland became even better at Manchester City. Striker Erling Haaland is in the best form of his life, and a number of changes in the last year have helped that. There is a deep irony in Erling Haaland's route to happiness. The Manchester City striker has searched the earth to reach perfection in his bid to make good on his generational talent, immersing himself in the science of biohacking to gain as many advantages as he can. He has incorporated raw milk and liver into his diet, used special glasses and tape over his mouth in evenings. Yet one of the biggest things that has inspired his ridiculous run of form this season is something that he shares with about 3 in every 4 UK men, being a dad. "I've never felt better than I do now," he said at Brentford after scoring his 18th goal of the campaign for club and country in his 11th game. "I think it's about preparation first of all, getting ready for the games. You can be physically ready, but you need to be mentally ready as well. And to be honest, I think with a kid, it makes me even better because I actually disconnect more than ever. I don't think of football at all, which sometimes when you're younger, you think of this and that, and maybe worry a little bit about things. But when I go home, I relax even more. So I think I need to give a shout out to my son. Many will know all too well what Haaland means when he talks about his child leaving him too short of time to think about anything else at home. But it is curious nonetheless for someone as intrigued in performance as the Norwegian, is that something that has been around since Adam and Eve can have as big an impact as the latest advancements that science and technology can offer. Haaland's son is not the only reason for his form, but it contributes to a life that is wholly more settled now than it was last season when he underperformed with a mere 31 goals for City. Such an assessment of last year may still seem harsh, but it has to be for the talent Haaland has. And the fact he already has 12 goals for his club this season reflects that. Haaland loves being a dad and is even more settled with his partner Isabel in a leafier part of Greater Manchester than the city centre apartment that they first lived in after he signed for the club in 2022. They are happier there for this stage of their life, and while becoming parents changes things forever, it brings stability as well as happiness after the worries that can come with pregnancy. If birth is a life-changing event, so too is death. Haaland went unashamedly deep in a recent interview with Norwegian broadcaster NRK when he covered a subject that doesn't tend to come up in a flash interview after a game. "I'm actually a bit afraid of death because I don't know what happens," he said. "It's a little scary when you lie alone in bed before falling asleep and think, what will happen on the day I die? Will you go to heaven? Will you go to hell? Where will you go?" Haaland has had to think about death over the last year because he has grieved for a close friend. Ivar Egger, his dad's best friend, and one of few people trusted to be a member of the footballer's inner circle, passed away last September at the age of 59. Nobody knows how a 24-year-old will be impacted by the loss of somebody who was like an uncle to him, but those close to him suggest it did take a toll on even someone as mentally strong as Haaland. As he was trying to hold City together last season, he was also working through a lot of things in his personal life that he had no control over. Being more settled off the pitch has brought about the best version of Haaland that he or anyone else have seen. He is in a happier place to be able to bring motivation for club and country. When that energy drops, a friendly shove from Brentford defender Sepp van der Berg can quickly raise his spirits. As the number 9 feels better than ever, he is also more visible than ever after moving to a more private part of town. Regular updates on his Snapchat account in recent weeks have everything from threatening messages from fans of rival clubs to breaking Ryan Cherki's return to the squad and taking the mick out of teammates and himself. John Stones issues timely reminder amid England and Manchester City. Hope Manchester City defender John Stones has been an England mainstay throughout the last decade, was crucial to Gareth Southgate's side, and is still the best option for Thomas Tuchel ahead of the World Cup. John Stones will have more difficult nights than the one he had against Wales, which is the precise reason Thomas Tuchel has to make sure Stones is leading England's defence when these occasions do come along, which they will next summer, when England head to the World Cup and are expected to reach the latter stages. A place Stones has found himself in numerous times before. The Manchester City defender was part of the England side, which reached the World Cup semi-finals in Russia in 2018. He was an ever-present from start to finish. Just like he was in 2020, when he started all 7 games, with England conceding just 2 goals before losing the Euros final to Italy. And guess what? Stones was also ever present in England's run to the final of Euro 2024, which also ended in defeat, this time to Spain in Berlin. Stones was invaluable to Gareth Southgate in terms of what he achieved during his time as England manager. Down the years, Stones has been described as a Rolls-Royce of a defender. Yet some cruel injuries have reduced him to resembling a Robin Reliant at times. But Stones has always returned to the highest level to remind people what England miss when he's not around. Like his class on the ball, ability to read and anticipate what is going on around him, and lead from the front, even though he operates at the back. More injuries have disrupted Stones' start to the new season, which means he has started just 5 games for Pep Guardiola so far. But it is a measure of how much value he still has to New England manager Tuchel that the German picked him in his latest squad. Because Tuchel knows Stones has the one thing the likes of Mark Guehi, Ezri Konsa and Jed Spence don't have as much of: big game experience. A quality he hopes will see the presence of Stones benefit those around him.